Hey YouTube, I'm back with another deck profile video. I haven't been doing deck profile videos on my channel in a while because I've been busy working on my Twitch live stream gaming channel and my other channel, which is The Acclaimed. If you look it up on YouTube or on my channel, I have it there. So I've been working on that, so I've been really busy on other things, but I decided to get back and do a couple of Vanguard videos here. I will be covering some other like Bermuda Triangle related stuff in the near future. But I looked back at what I hadn't posted, and then Gurguit, my Gold Paladin deck, was one of them. So without further ado, let's get into the updated Gold Paladin deck. So Gurguit actually surprises me because I actually really like this style that they did for Gold Paladin, trying to make them more of like a defensive style Paladin deck as opposed to the sheer offensive power that Royal Paladins have, and the interesting versatility and kind of like weird like defensive and offensive style that Shadow Paladin has. So Gold Paladin is kind of right now tends to be more like defensive, but they are still very offensive, kind of like a Phalanx. That's kind of what I refer to them as, at least the Gurguit deck. Can't really say the same for Bluish Flames or Liberators in general. But Gurguit, I feel, is actually one of the better decks out there right now, kind of like Outmile is with Royal Paladin. So for Gurguit, 2 from the new start deck that came out, and then 2 of the one from set 3 from last year. So Gurguit's your main Vanguard. You want to try to ride him, so that's why we run 4 copies of him. Next, as a backup Vanguard, I am running 2 Knight of Compassionate Light Bardot. Bardot is actually quite good because what I like about him is he is not GB restricted, so if you do have to ride him, it's not really the end of the world, and you can potentially like use his Unite skill early in mid-game. And then the other grade 3 that I'm running is 2 Dongle. Dongle, only 2 copies because if you run 3 or 4 of this, you run the risk of having to ride this, and it's a 10k Vanguard, which doesn't have any Vanguard skills. All of this grade 3 skills are rear guard, so that's why I leave him at 2. But he is a pretty good booster, or even a defender with intercept when you have Unite. So I feel like Unite is an interesting thing that a lot of people forget, that Unite can be played both offensively and defensively, in the sense that as all it requires is that you call 2 or more cards to rear guard or Guardian Circle during your turn, or during this turn, meaning your turn or the opponent's turn. So this can potentially, you try to guard, then you intercept, and then this can be used as an intercept if this is in the front row. So usually what I like to do is I call this to the field as a rear guard in the back, and use it as a 10k or more boost. And it works pretty well. So 2 copies of that. So that's the grade 3 lineup. For the grade 2 lineup, I am running 4 of Paramore. Paramore is their main, it's one of the main cards that helps you call stuff. It replaced the Parallel, which was like the counterblast ones. When it's boosted, do something, or when it attacks the Vanguard, boost and do something. So replace that so you don't have to rely on the booster, which is a good thing for them because when you're up against retire decks, usually what retire decks like Kagero they like to do, they like to blow up your boosters so that you have weak front line columns, and this deck does have trouble forming columns in that regard. So not having to rely on Purwool to get you an extra call is a good thing. It does make the deck more resistant to retire heavy decks, or even like lock type decks to some degree. Next, I'm running 4 Bullregal. Bullregal is really good because this is basically like, I think of this as the Nehalem card for the Gold Paladins for this deck. So basically, when he attacks, if you have Unite, he gets 5k. So the nice thing about this is this works really well with stand triggers, which the deck is still running. Because I feel like in a lot of Paladin decks, 4 stand 8 critical is very optimal right now. Next, 3 Marcia or Marcia. I call her Marcia, but anyway, she is a really good card that has resist. So she's a Gold Paladin card that has resist. Only downside about her is she's 8k. But we do run proper boosters in the back row that can help you hit like 17k, for example. So it's not too big of a deal. What I like about her is she has resist. So she can resist like Kagero, makes it harder for them to retire her. they have to kind of like force themselves to attack it, and it's an 8k, so they don't really see it as a threat. But then when you have like a 9k boost behind her or something, then it becomes problematic if they let it sit for too long. But yeah, it also has the ability to escape. Like, it can go into the soul at the end of each turn to unflip one. So this is kind of like the unflip card that they have, which can be used against like Link Joker and stuff like that to try to open the field up. If you know you're against Link Joker, to prevent them from blocking you. Unless you're up against Chaos Breaker, then it's still kind of an issue, but it's not too bad. So that's grade 2s. For grade 1s, I am trying one Holy Mage Irina. They're basically bringing back Quintet Walls now with additional effects. So it has the Quintet Wall effect when it's placed on G from hand. You can counterblast one, call 5 cards from the top of the deck to the Guardian Circle. So that automatically will activate Unite. So that would make like this guy in the front row be live and stuff like that. And then on top of that, she also has the effect of when she's placed on the Guardian Circle from the deck. So that, for example, like if Gurguit uses his skill and she gets put onto the Guardian Circle, then you can discard one card, return her to the hand, and then call the top card of the deck onto the Guardian Circle, and it gets 5k. So she can potentially like go to the hand, and then later on you can use her as a Quintet Wall. So only one copy because you don't want to deck out, and the deck actually like runs through the deck really fast, which is what Gold Paladins are pretty good at, like checking cards and then like calling something and putting stuff in the shuffle or putting on the bottom. So one of this is good enough. And then of course, 3 Holy Mage Candace. So before I was running 4 Candace, I still strongly believe that with Gurguit, because of Gurguit's GB2 skill, the original Perfect Guards are the best Perfect Guards. They can block any situation. They can activate with his skill. They can activate with this card's skill. So you can, like, if you activate this and it top decks one of these, you can activate this to nullify the attack completely. So, I mean, that's why I always feel like during Legion Arc, like 3 of this top Perfect Guard plus the 1 Quintet Wall was pretty good. But yeah, so you gotta run these plus this, or just 4 of these, because it's the best setup. Anyone who argues like that you should run the unflipped Perfect Guard, I don't really think they have played Gold Paladin at a high enough level to really understand why this is just a lot more consistent. Anyway, next, for Dawning Knight, Stride Fodder. You can run 3 if you want, and we'll talk about card choices there, but 4 of this is good to ensure that you can stride, mainly because sometimes you'll like top check and you'll get one of these, you may want to call it down that turn to get its benefits, so then you wouldn't be able to use it as stride. So that's why we run 4 of this. And then for Sunshine Knight Jeffrey, he's really good. He just helps you draw. He goes in the soul, so he fills up for the Gurguit, and also this guy, if you're using this guy. So really good. And then 2 Runo. Runo at 3 might actually be better. I feel like 4 of this might be not necessary, but I don't know. Or maybe like drop one of these. So like I was saying, I feel like Runo's really good in this in my build because I am running the 8k. So I do want him to be 9k, and this says Unite. So this thing boosting the Unite unit will make it like 17, so it gets proper numbers, as well as 9 plus the 14. That's really good as well. But yeah, I may drop one of this for an extra one of this because this tech card is really good. So let me know in the comments, would you drop a Jeffrey for a Runo or a Dawning Knight for a Runo? So I'm just interested to see what people would say about that. That's basically the grade 1s. For the trigger lineup, 4 stand trigger, the new one with Unite, because he's got the French horn. I call him French horn, he's really good. So I play 4 of him. Then 4 of the Scarface Lion. This is Gurgit's critical trigger. Then 4 Flame of Victory. It's just really good with her. Make her power up. You can also use it with Bullregal to make him 16k. Or I guess 17k. And then 4 heals. The new heal trigger for Gold Paladin. And then I'm running the trial deck, or the start deck starter, because it doesn't use any counterblasts. So that's basically the updated main deck. For the stride deck, it did change a lot as well. I do run 1 copy of Sunrise Ray Radiant Sword Gurguit. This is basically the finisher for the clan. Like, it just, you call it out, or you stride this, and you just go in for the win. So that's basically it. It's GB2 restricted. He does have a hefty Soul Blast too, so that's why we do run some cards that go in the Soul, like Marsha and Flame of Victory and stuff like that. Next, 1 of this Golden Knight. Sometimes I use this as first stride, other times I will never use it, so 1 copy is enough. Next, 4 Scourge Point Dragon. It got reprinted in the start deck, so now I got 4 of it. But if you have 2 is good. 2 is a good number. 3 is a good number. 4 works, but it's kind of a little bit overkill. But I just run 4 of it, because that's what I have. Then 2 Golden Dragon Ray Breath Dragon. I use this a few times, but most of the time I don't really use it as much as Scourge Point Dragon. But yeah, it's still a pretty solid card from the start deck. Then of course we have the Spearcross Dragon, 2 copies, so you can stride it 1 time per game. Usually I do stride it like 2nd time or 3rd time, depending on who the opponent is though, because this card is a really good card against retire heavy clans. Then the 1 Campbell, because sometimes you can use it in late game if you have that open spot behind, say, the grade 2 dog or something, and you want it to get even stronger, and hoping that you can call something if they let it hit. And then for the G Guardians, 2 Slamy Flare. This is the new one that Gold Paladin's got. Essentially, what it does is, when it's placed on Guardian Circle, you can choose 1 of your rear guards, put on the bottom of the deck, then you look at 5, choose the 2 cards with different grades from one of them, call them the Guardian Circle. So it's really nice in that it can potentially get you a Perfect Guard. It checks 5 cards, so it's very nice. It's a very nice card that Gold Paladin got. It just helps them be even more like a tank build, where it's really hard for the opponent to break through the defenses. So we played 2 of them, and then 2 of Rhea, because Rhea is just the other one that's relatively easy to pull off that 31 defense, or that 30 or that 20k shield that she provides in this deck. So anyway guys, that's my updated Gurguit deck. Let me know in the comments below what you think of it and Gold Paladins in general. Do you think Gold Paladins can be like one of the best clans out there right now? And looking forward to see those comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.